I started writing that book about 10 years ago, and writing a book was always a goal of mine. It took a lot longer than I ever anticipated, but it really is my journey of overcoming addiction and as a survivor of sexual abuse and having anxiety and really providing hope for people and knowing that you can come through on the other side.
So why, I've read it about you that you have this picture perfect life with these beautiful kids, you have a successful career. Why be so bold and forthright about your own issues, past issues, and you're coping with them?
Because I so want to break the silence and stigma of addiction and mental health. And it actually bothers me when people think that my life is perfect just by what it looks like, because it has been so far from that. And really identifying the fact that we don't look like, our insides may not necessarily match our outsides, and to really be open and honest and to connect with people regardless of what they might look like. I'm a survivor of sexual abuse as a young child and did tell my parents about it, who didn't do anything other than tell me not to hang around the perpetrator. I was 10. And so that was really my first experience with, we don't talk about those things. So suck it up, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and that really turned into an eating disorder for me. I felt like here I used my words to share how I'd been feeling, and really got attention by the way I looked, because I didn't look healthy. So that really got me into treatment, and I was able to work on the sexual abuse and work through the eating disorder. And then as a college student, I was studying social work, and was attacked on the streets as a random act of violence in Chicago. So I'd really started healing, and then that kind of knocked me back down again. Not kind of did, it did. I think between the recovering and healing from sexual assault and sexual abuse, there is a question oftentimes about, what does it look like 10 years, 20 years, 2 weeks after somebody has experienced that, and knowing that, in the book I say there was a piece of me taken that I'll never get back. And so I think there's a curiosity piece about that. And so many women and men can relate to that experience.
Tell us about what is cognitive behavior therapy and how it can be fruitful in helping people change any type of behavior that they would like to change.
I love that question. Cognitive behavioral therapy is evidence-based, and it is the idea of our thoughts create certain feelings and behaviors. And so if we can identify what some of those automatic negative thoughts are and change our thinking around them, for example, somebody struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder, similar to what I experienced after an attack, like the one when I was a survivor of a random act of violence, there was a lot of it's my fault, and if I would have only done this differently. And when we play that negative mental tape, we just stay stuck and more depressed and more anxious. But if we can look at it with a different lens and think about it differently, we can provoke different types of feelings. So to go from a victim to a survivor. I love to tell people that they are never alone, because oftentimes with all of the things we've talked about this afternoon, it can feel like we are the only ones who are going through it. And that oftentimes is what leads to something as traumatic and as suicide. And so being able to find there's always somebody who will support you.
Yeah. That was Kelly Kitley.